Is this a Western?
Hi. So challenge one it was an inside job. It's a colleague from the Autry, actually Anton Lieberman, who did the great intro sequence for these videos. He said, is Frankenstein a Western? Just to get the ball rolling for the series. And that was a tough one, especially given that, in 1818, when Mary Shelley first wrote the novel Frankenstein, a lot of what we call the American West was not even part of the United States. And though it is at the beginning of kind of genre literature, Frankenstein being an early kind of horror or sci-fi book, and an early Western just a few years later being James Fenimore Cooper's The Pioneers. So we're starting to get into parallel territory. And if you think about the story, Dr. Frankenstein creates this creature who becomes a sort of man with no name, a really efficient killer if he has to be, and outsider to society. And in the end, he's kind of doomed. He jumps onto a life raft, kind of rides off into the sunset in a kind of Arctic setting. And that language of exploration that Europeans use to talk about the West is really prevalent. And for instance, the narrator talks about the a part of the world never before visited in the Arctic, or land never before printed by the foot of man, which kind of echoes how a lot of Europeans talked about the American West, whether it was true or not. Um, and so another thing that this challenge brought me to was to check out this film from 1966 called Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Um, it might fall into the category of I watched it so you don't have to, but at this point in time, we're all looking for different things. I would say go for it. It's worth checking out. It's kind of fascinating. In the story, it's actually Frankenstein's granddaughter. Maybe that didn't work as well for the title. Moves to an old Franciscan monastery, I guess maybe in Arizona, among a Mexican American community, and is doing similar experiments to her grandfather. And meanwhile, the James gang and parts of the Wild Bunch, the Butch Cassidy Wild Bunch, kind of team up, and through a series of Western plot lines that I don't want to spoil for you because I know you're going to watch this. Um, they ends up coming in contact with Maria Frankenstein, right? And she has this great line that kind of brings it together where she says, "You see, we have something in common. We're both outside of the law." I think that was kind of the key to Jesse James and Maria Frankenstein being connected in this. So at the end of the day, I would say the verdict is give that creature a Stetson, it's a Western.